Hello there, this is Wise Attraction. Thank you for joining us once again today for another episode. I'm your host, Dr. Bibi Babs, and I'm the founder of Wise Attraction, which is a resource hub for building strong relationships. On today's show, we're going to be doing a Q&A for some controversial relationship questions. But before we go into that, recently a lot of people have graduated, particularly in Nigeria, where I'm from. There have been graduations, and also some people have also passed out from their NYSC, which is a compulsory service to the nation that you do for 1 year after you graduate. Um, you get a posting to a completely different state from where you're from, and you are required to work in a government parastatal or a government company while you're there for 1 full year, after which you can then go into the marketplace and then get your actual job or move back to the state where you're from. And you find that some people actually do settle in the state where they completed their NYSC service. I just thought, if you're not familiar with the term NYSC, I'll do a bit of an explanation. On today's show, my guests are going to be giving advice to recent graduates or to those that are nearing their graduation and they're sort of wondering what next. So you get some tips today from my guests, and also they'll be answering some controversial relationship questions. If you haven't subscribed to Wise Attraction, this is a good time to hit the subscribe button so that you can know when we have new content. Also, don't forget to hit the red bell, which is the notification button, so that you actually get a notification in your mailbox whenever we have new content for you. Also, like this video if you enjoy and share with your friends. You can actually hit the share button now if you know a couple of people that are graduates or singles that have tough relationship questions that they need answers to. As always, we like the show to be very interactive, so please get typing, post your comments. If you agree with something, say I agree, disagree. Feel free to share your views, your questions, or whatnot, and we are happy to answer them today. So I'll be introducing my guests in no particular order. Our first guest today is Aurea Apampa. Hello, Aurea. How are you doing?
Hi, Phoebe. Hi, everyone. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's so good to have you on the show. Thanks for coming.
Same here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so before we get our other guests onto the show, can you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. So as Phoebe said, my name is Aurea Pampa. I like to say I'm many things to many people. So sometimes, well, in my 9 to 5, I'm an information security analyst and developer. Then outside of that, I run a voiceover business. So yeah, if you ever need voiceovers, this is what a good voiceover artist looks like. Then I also mentor a few students as well, mostly on the African continent, just along with their education journeys. And I'm really passionate about education. And then finally, I just started a PhD. So I'm looking forward to that going well. And yeah, that's me so far.
Thank you, Aurea. Thanks for that brief introduction. Wow, a voiceover artist. You're doing all of these things. I don't want it. I'm almost going to think, where do you get the time to fulfill all of these, your passions? But don't answer me right now, because there's a lot. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that during the show. So our next guest is Bolu, and he's going to tell us a bit about himself. Hi, Bolu. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Bibi.
You're welcome. Please tell us a bit about yourself before we get right into the meat of the matter. Bolu, can you hear me? Okay. Bolu, can you hear us? Okay, we're definitely having some connectivity issues there. All right, so let's go on to you with the first question while we allow our other guests to sort of settle into the show. When did you graduate from uni?
Gosh, feels like a long time ago. 2011.
Wow, 2011. That was like
2011.
10 years ago this year.
Yeah. It's been a journey. I still feel like I'm just that person who's just left university, but actually many years have passed.
Okay, so 10 years is a good time for reflection. It's a good time to think, actually, what did I miss? What should I have known? What are the things that I should have done when I was graduating, or when I just graduated? What should I have actually taken into consideration before going into that marketplace? So can you share with us a few things that you wish you knew when you graduated?
Um, I'd say to stay curious. So, and learning never ends, right? So even when you do leave university, you then have the opportunity to self-direct on your learning. So choose what you want to learn and go for it. But learning never ends. Don't feel like, oh, I finished with school, I'm never opening a book again. No, if you want to progress and do well, it's good to kind of keep up your learning. And then also just staying curious, follow your passions. So if you're interested in something, actually go ahead and learn more. Now, follow your passion. I'm not necessarily saying that in the sense of like it may or may not be via your job, but still actually go ahead and just discover your passions, what you're interested in, learn more, try out things, and yeah, yeah. And then also take advantage of your networks. So speak to people if it's looking for a job or other things. You can speak to people, or you can just co-create stuff with people as well. But definitely leverage your networks.
Okay, thanks, Aurea. I'm just gonna see if Bolu is ready for us. Hi, Bolu. Can you hear us now?
Yes, hi, BB.
Sorry about all of the glitches happening. Sometimes you can't trust this technology of a thing. Um, so Bolu, tell us a bit about
Especially if you live in the third world.
yeah. So guys, Bolu is in Nigeria and he's made a lot of effort to join us today. So I really appreciate your coming on in spite of all the challenges. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my full name is Bolu Brotolu. That's an Ijaw name. And for me, it's pretty easy, although a lot of people say that it's hard. So I'm a civil engineer and I graduated in 2013 in uh, in Malaysia. Then I came back to Nigeria and did the National Youth Service Corps. And of course, it's been a whole journey since then.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting because Aurea was in Malaysia as well, right?
Yes, I
Aurea
was.
spent some time in Malaysia, and also Ukela was in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
What a random-
No.
I don't know each other.
Yeah.
How interesting. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. So, Bolu, thanks for introducing yourself. So it's been how many years? About 7 years since you graduated and since you left NYSC. What lessons have you learned?
Okay, well, it's been like I said, 2013. That's when I graduated. That's 8 years ago.
Great.
And my number one lesson so far, looking back over my shoulders, especially during my school years, was the need for, or is the need for, building sustainable relationships while on campus. I got to discover that the relationship you make on campus would actually be your support system throughout life. There will be your relationship would be the people there for you, maybe perhaps at your wedding or at any grand occasion, that you embark on post university life. So, but my own relationship on campus was very, very poor. I was somewhat of a loner. That had to do with my background and also my personality type. I was an extreme introvert, so I would just be to myself, lock myself in my room, don't go out there to associate. My social life was really poor, and so far, I think that's my greatest or my biggest regret. But I tried to fix it during NYC. During NYC,
So
I
how
was
did you
really well. I began to talk to people. I met a lot of smart people during my service year, especially in my CDS group and other CDS groups as well. So I began to, well, just talk to people, associate, smile, say hi to people, engage people, ask them about themselves, to tell me about themselves, where they come from, what they like, about their dreams, their future, what they're going to do after NYC, and that's how I began to create relationships so far. And so far, after NYC in 2016, those people I made friends with during my service year, they've been very, very critical to my in my life right now, and so far, so yeah,
Wow,
so
Bolu, you make
relationships.
good point, which is quite similar to what Ore said as well. Network, the relationships you have. So, guys, if you're watching this, you just recently graduated, or you graduated a while ago, keep your friends, hold them there, because, like, even as you carry on, different people are in different places. As you start, you get on the career ladder, you'll be able to encourage yourselves, and then you probably grow in different ways, and you'll be able to learn from each other, even be able to support each other to climb up career ladder as you go along your career. So it's really key. Thanks for sharing with us, Bolu. And if you're an introvert, I was also an introvert, but not to a very great degree. I'm someone that sometimes I feel like I switch between being an introvert and I can actually act like an extrovert in certain situations. And in certain situations, I can be such an introvert that people wonder if I can actually speak. So if you're an introvert, as Bolu has said, and similar to my experience, you can actually make up your mind to make a bit of an effort to actually engage with people, because that will help you as you build networks. It will help you as you begin to plan out your career and, should I say, get along that career journey. So we're going to introduce our third guest, which is Ukela. He's also in Nigeria. Hi, Ukela. Okay, you know what? We're going to come back to our third guest later on. So another thing about uni is that, for me personally, guys, I want you guys to tell me what you think about it. I feel like, as a Nigerian, the way you're sort of brought up, or what your parents tell you, is that go to school, read your book. When you graduate, and then you get a job and all of that. So maybe that works here in the should I say, in countries that are more developed than Nigeria, because out here in the UK, you can actually go to uni or whatever, get your degree and get a good job. But in a place like Nigeria, where opportunities are not created for you by the government, you literally have to be a government to yourself. That advice doesn't cut it. There are some life skills that you actually need to build and to develop for yourself before you graduate, so that you're ready to excel in the marketplace, whether it's through getting a job or it's through setting out on your own business. And right now in Nigeria, like the whole SME industry, small medium enterprise industry, is really booming and growing, because a lot of young people, they've discovered that, listen, we can't trust in the government, we have to come out ourselves. So I want you guys to sort of speak to that. What are your thoughts about that? And what sort of advice, realistic advice, can someone in a country like Nigeria, where the government literally is just for themselves, what can they do to sort of break the barriers?
Shall I let
Aurea,
you
you
go
want
first?
to go first?
We're both being cautious. Okay. I can give. I don't live in Nigeria, so it might be a bit more difficult for me to comment out of experience. But then, what I'd say is definitely, as I mentioned before, leverage your networks. So the people you know, reach out to them, tell them what you're looking for, and just kind of put fillers out there to find work. Link up with people as well. And sometimes it's a numbers game. So you literally just wake up and apply. Just keep applying until something eventually comes through. If it's a 1 in 100 chance of getting an opportunity, then make the 100 attempts. That way you at least get one. But it's the kind of thing where you just have to keep going. Is what I think. But definitely leveraging your connections. Maybe people who, this could be people who you studied with. Could be lecturers who might know of jobs that are appropriate. You could be your alumni association. It could be even people from church who might know about opportunities available. So I'll definitely say one thing that could help is leveraging your networks to help you get the job or the experience that you're looking for.
Yeah, thanks, Aurea. So don't be shy about telling people, "Oh, I've just recently graduated. This is my degree. These are the things I need to be able to like succeed or to get forward. This is exactly what I'm looking for." Don't be shy to tell people. And also, in line with that, I'll just add to it before I let move on to the next guest. Is don't be afraid of receiving a no. You're going to get lots of no's. Like, build resilience to receive no's because they will come, but those no's don't define you. Those no's don't mean that you can't be successful. Those no's don't mean that you actually don't qualify. Like, there are various reasons why people tell you no, and sometimes we don't usually know those reasons, and we now internalize those no's and begin to look down on ourselves. You will definitely hear no's, but one of the things I want you to take away from this show today is be bold enough to keep going regardless of what you hear. So before I go on to Bolu to answer the question, I want to introduce our third guest, Ukela. Thanks for joining us today. Sorry, it's taking a while to introduce you to the show. How are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. I'm glad to be here. Hi, Aurea. Hi,
Hi.
Bolu. Hi, everyone. I know I'm late, but I'm sure it's going to be a good time anyway. So glad to be finally here.
Thanks. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Aquila. But interestingly, quite a number of people know me as GT, because that's like an abbreviation for my middle name, God's. I am a power system engineer. I am enthusiastic about relationship, marriage, generally stuff that has to do with young people. So that's about that.
All right, thanks for letting us know. So I'm going to come back to you, Ukela, but I want to move on to Bolu now. Bolu, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So can you speak to that question, that thing I said in terms of when you go to uni, they tell you, "Oh, read your book. When you come out, you get a job. You do. If you study hard enough, you'll be successful." Is that really true? Is that all you need to be successful in the marketplace?
Well, from my own experience, I came to experience the cliche, the popular cliche in the marketplace that goes, it's not what you know or what you study, but who you know that matters in the marketplace. But now, even with the Nigerian macroeconomic environment, as you already mentioned, how how possible are you how possible is it for you to leverage on your support system for a job that is not there? So the job market is actually shrinking in Nigeria, while on the other hand, graduates are being shunned out into the marketplace yearly in their thousands and millions. So you find a million people looking for for a job, a million applications for just one single position. So how do you maneuver all of these things? I think my own advice would be that with the current situation in Nigeria and then the prospective nature of the trajectory of what's going on in Nigeria in the marketplace, it's for you to be broad-minded, okay? So they always say that, well, you have to be ready to do any kind of job that you come across over there. In the last 5 years, I think I've been a lot of things. I've been a security guy, I've been a farmer, I've been an operations manager. I've been so many things just to survive in Nigeria until recently when I got a job as a civil engineer at a university. So far, you have to be humble and be ready to pull your sleeves off, to roll off your sleeve and do whatever job you find to do out there. Yeah.
Wow, Bolu, thanks for sharing that with us. So it's been how many years from when you graduated till this time?
It's been 8 years. 8 years.
8 years. So you got this civil engineering job that's in line with your specific career 8 years
Yes,
after
a year
graduating.
ago. Yeah. No.
Okay,
Yes.
so 7 years. 7 years after you graduated. So
Yes,
guys,
7 years, yeah.
yeah. So one thing that really hits me as you talk about this is your resilience as well and determination. So if you're watching this, please, I want you to really pick the things I'm saying because I'm so passionate about this. I like people to be successful. I believe that everyone has something great inside of them. And sometimes the society you find yourself in just tends to knock that thing down. For me, it was like after I graduated, I was really shocked because I'm not even trying to boast. Sometimes I don't like to say this, but it goes somewhere. But I graduated with a really good degree, But it was, and when I graduated, like I had this light in my eyes because I had expectations, I had dreams, I had goals. Only for me to enter the labor market, the things they told me read, I read. Do you understand? I got the result. Where is the job? It's like the
Mm-hmm.
life, I was so disappointed. And of course, like I had to push through that disappointment. Like Bolu, I had to be determined, and I said that I can't remain here. I have to get return on investment on that book that they sent me to go and read. So like I had to really be determined. So like I said, you hit nose. Bolu has said he's been operations manager, he's been a farmer, he's been a security guard. This guy studied in Malaysia. Do you understand? Like, why shouldn't he get the best of jobs? But through all of that, I'm so glad that you've gotten to the point where you are now within, like, solidly in the profession that you dreamt of practicing when you left uni. So, guys, please learn from this. Right now, you might be watching and you're in a place where you don't expect to be. Just keep pushing. One day, you get to a place that exceeds your expectation. So, I'm going to move to Ukela now. Or we're coming to you soon. Don't worry. Ukela, so tell us about you. You know what we're talking about. Just speak to this whole idea of study, read your book. When you pass, you'll be okay in the future.
Okay, contextualizing it into Nigeria. Nigeria is a very unique place, very peculiar in so many ways. The rules don't quite work so straightforwardly here. And I'd like to agree with something Bolu said. Many times in our marketplace in Nigeria, it starts tending towards the relationships you have more than just the qualifications or skills that you have. It's not something a lot of people like to hear, but it's a reality that we really can't avoid for too long. So what I'll tell young people or people who are just coming out of school or coming out of service is, first of all, make sure that you make very good relationships. I mean, take every opportunity that you have to have great relationships with people. It could be the people at your NYC camp. It could be the people. It could be the people that you studied with in school. People that you've had some reason to work for, or work with, or volunteer with. Just make the best of every relationship that you get to have this period. And even before now, actually, you should have started before you got into the job market. Okay, so if there are people you haven't called for a while, if there are uncles, if there are lecturers in school, if there are people that are mentors to you, try and revive those relationships and keep in touch because they just might be very, very handy and helpful to your getting an opportunity. And now that's not to play down on having to do some other kinds of things like work or really hunt for a job. I mean, that's a given. You can't stay in the house and expect something to work out, right? So I would say whatever your hand finds to do, do it. Personally, I didn't get a job immediately I came out of school. I mean, just like you said, I had reasons to have high expectations. I studied engineering, came out with an okay grade, studied from a pretty good uni. So my expectations were high. Interestingly, before I graduated, I seemed to be having offers. And then after I graduated, everything disappeared. So I just started volunteering wherever I could. I volunteered in church. I led the youth to some events. I helped the family do things that they had to do. At one point, I traveled to Lagos, stayed with my sister, and did as many things as my hand could find to do. In the midst of all of that, yes, I was pursuing opportunities. I was looking for jobs. I was going for interviews, but I did whatever I could do in the meantime, just like Bolu did. Eventually I got a job a year after, but I didn't feel like I wasted any time. And I think all my activity helps to keep me in the right state of mind while I was looking for that job. And they help to save me from depression or, the feeling that could come with being disappointed after being done from school and not getting something. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, thanks, Ukela. I appreciate your sharing your story with us. So keep busy, guys. If you graduated and you're waiting for that job, looking for it, to keep busy, volunteer, do anything that you can get your hands on. My husband told me that after he graduated from uni, he actually volunteered in the church that he was in at the time, and he was doing some he helped them develop their website because he's an IT guy, and do some IT work for them that he was then able to put on his CV that helped him get his first job. So sometimes some things might look little. Try to volunteer areas that you can volunteer in that are similar to the area that you'd like to work in eventually. So if you're watching this, please don't forget to comment. Let us know your thoughts. If you have any advice for recent graduates, share that as well on the comment section. So moving on to our next topic for today, I'd like us to answer some relationship questions, because when you graduate, as the Africans that we are, let's be honest, the next thing they'll start asking you. In fact, some people before they graduate in their final year, they are depressed. Some ladies. Why? Because their mom or dad has already called them and said, please, as you're coming back, or when you pack that box, bring your husband inside that suitcase and come and introduce him to us. You're not coming to sit down in this house, So like lots of pressure when it comes to relationship, and because of that, and people end up making some wrong decisions. So there's that side of things, and there's the side of, for some reason, I don't know, when people go to hostel to go and stay in at uni, they now end up like cohabiting. Like you have lots of married men and women that are actually single in schools because they are living together and doing stuff together. And also when you go to NYSC, people, like, someone cracked a joke when I was doing my NYSC, and she said on day one of NYSC, oh, meet my friend. Two people will meet, a guy and a girl. They say, oh, meet my friend. Day two, that friend has become fiancé. Day three, my husband or my wife. Like, is that, I'm telling you, like, people just jump into all sorts of relationship issues in that year of graduation, and sometimes it's idleness, sometimes it's just, I don't know, going with the flow. So I feel like this topic really fits in today for us to answer some interesting relationship questions. So I'm going to start with Aurea. And the first question I'll ask you is, when is it acceptable to go into a relationship with your friend's ex?
That's a hard one. Is it acceptable? I guess it depends on many things, right? How close are you to this friend? Because yes, it's a bit of a hard one. I've known of people who, like, they went out, it didn't quite work out, and then some years later, like, this guy and girl ended up going out with each other, but one of her friends in the past was also went out with him. So, and they got married and it was fine. I don't know. So unfortunately, on that question, my answer is I don't know. I haven't been in that situation. So,
and they all still friends?
Sorry?
Were they all still friends? Like,
yeah. But again, in that situation, they weren't like super close. I mean, they're friends, but not like best friends sort of thing. I think it might be a bit more tricky if you have a friend that's almost as close as a brother or sister, and then that happens. I think, yeah, that might be a bit more tricky. But also, well, if you're not so close to the person and you guys get on well with the guy, if it's a girl that you're going out with, then I guess you can go ahead. But it's the proximity. I think it depends on the proximity of relationship between you and that friend. If you're really best friends, like siblings, then it might not be so great. But
Okay.
it's so hard. I can't say. I literally can't give advice on that.
All right. Bolu, what do you think?
Like Aurea said, it's a very tricky question. So
Okay.
it also depends on the individuals involved. It has happened before in the past, right? And it may happen again in the future. So, but for some people, they can't. Like somebody like me, I don't think I can. I don't think I can, right? Why for some people they can't. So it depends on individuals and the relationships they have.
Okay, Ukela, what do you think?
Well, um, I totally can. I feel like already sitting back. I can because
This thing.
I think that people are different. If things didn't work out between my friend and his partner, we may not have the same issues. Okay, because people don't work out for different reasons. Okay. So for instance, if they were not compatible because of their genotype or some serious reasons which are not applicable to me, as long as my friend is mature enough to realize that, look, things didn't work out between them doesn't mean things can work out between us. And if we genuinely like ourselves and can pursue something serious, I don't see why we can't go on. I mean, I'll talk to my friend just to make sure that his feelings are not hurt in the process. Okay? Like, guys, we'll talk about it. And if I feel like I can go on and he's cool with it, then I can. I'll only step back a little or be careful if I feel like it's really going to hurt him or he hasn't really moved on from it. Or, I mean, I cherish friendship. So I'm not going to lose very good friendship because I'm trying to chase a relationship that I'm not sure of if it's going to work or not. So, yes, I'll give him that consideration. But I mean, I will try if it can. Why not?
Okay, I think there's a bit of a network problem there. But for me personally, I just feel like it would be a bit awkward. Because if all of you are friends, like, would you guys hang out together still? If you meet up somewhere where both of you went to, like, I don't know. I don't know. It just feels weird. Because, the interesting thing is that recently in the news, this is like Nigerian entertainment news. Tonto Dike, which is an actress, her husband, eventually her ex-husband went ahead and married someone who, I don't know if the person was still her friend or a friend of hers anyway. Her ex-husband went ahead and married her friend, and a lot of people are raining all manner of insults on this girl. How could you, how dare you? Because there's always the issue of, oh, were you dating him before? Are you the one that broke their marriage or broke their relationship? People might not even believe you when you tell them, actually we went into our relationship like 3 years later. All they can see is that he or she was dating or she was married to this person and now she's married to you and both of you were friends. How does that work? You know?
It's an interesting one. I mean, it's one of those things where I'd rather not be in that situation, but I can see to an extent what GT is saying in that, like if you guys are mature enough, then fine. But then that's stuff you can control, right? But what if, for example, you didn't know that your friend had dated that person? So let's say you became friends later on, and then it just so happens that, okay, you guys reconnected and like, oh, meet this person, and like, oh, it's you. You're like, well, at that point you still be faced with the same situation, and then you just have to deal with it, right? So yeah, it's a tricky. It's not one I'd want to be in, but yeah.
Yeah, because are you saying that? Well, I guess I understand what you're saying. Because if it's a situation where you didn't know, is a bit more acceptable than when you were with them. You were all friends when they were dating, and at the end of their relationship, you're now the next person.
It also depends how big the community is. If it's a small community, like it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
Ukela, I saying something?
but I think it matters more what. Yeah, I think it matters more what the other friend feels or thinks. If your friend knows that nothing was going on between you guys while they were dating, if your friend is convinced that it's purely you guys trying to work out something after their relationship failed, then I don't think there's a big problem. Because, I mean, it didn't work out for you guys. Why can't we try to work out? Unless
Oh yeah, but the question is, why must it be my friend? That's the point. Why?
No, but
There are
it
a
could be
million.
anybody else.
Yeah,
It
but
could have
not
been
my
anybody
friend.
else, but it could have been your friend as well. Your friend is somebody else as well. In as much as they are your friend, they are also a potential partner to somebody. Okay, so I mean, they have rights to meet people, they have rights to date people, and I feel like I don't know, but I think it's a bit selfish if you feel like, okay, I did get something good, so my friend shouldn't get it.
I see where you're
I
coming
don't think
from.
that's very fair.
Ukela, are you? I think you have a kind of well, this is not or let me just say, I suspect you have kind of a mechanical mind. We're talking about emotions right now. Emotions are things that are very sensitive.
Okay, so
and
let me help.
Yeah.
Let me help you.
Okay.
I had a friend. I had a friend that okay, so I have two friends, okay, and I almost dated one of them. Almost dated one of them. But both of them are now married, okay, and we still hang out together. We still talk. We can have fun in their house.
But did they marry your friend?
But I almost, yeah, I'm friends with both of them. That's what I'm saying. So I could have married the lady if my friend did not marry the lady. Do you understand? They just worked out better. So it was okay that they got married because they worked out better. And they obviously love themselves a lot, even if, I mean, people normally have issues in relationships. But I could tell that they really like themselves. So I let them give their relationship a very good shot. They did, and it worked out, and we're still cool. I mean, somebody would feel like I shouldn't be cool with somebody who I almost dated and is now married to my friend. But realistically speaking, we are still cool. I know it's not something people find happen a lot, but it is possible.
But I think your situation is not exact. You said almost. You almost dated a person. but we're talking about real dating. You know that these people are really into each other. They were in a real relationship and everybody knew about it. And then maybe it didn't work out. And before you know, your friend came and dated the girl as well. And they got married. That's the situation we are talking about. We're not talking about almost dating.
I'm not totally ignoring. I'm not totally ignoring the involvement of emotions here. Like I said, I would consider my friend's emotions because the friendship is me. And I'm not just gonna give up the friendship because I want to have a shot at the relationship with its ex, you know. I've considered his emotions, and it depends a lot on how I perceive he feels about it. If I genuinely feel like he has moved on, if I genuinely feel like he's cool with us trying out a relationship, though they did not work out, then I don't see why I shouldn't. I'll only step back a little if I feel like he's still tangled up in emotions, or he hasn't really dealt with the fact that they did not work out, or he hasn't really moved on from her. If I feel like being with her still strikes up feelings or emotions or memories or things, then maybe it's not very healthy. You know, I'll be considerate. I'm not bad. I'll be considerate. So I'm not totally disregarding of his feelings or emotions, but I'm saying if I check that and I'm sure that he's cool,
Yeah.
I don't see what else is stopping me from proceeding.
Okay. So I see the point you're making, Ukela. And the thing is that we all don't have to agree. I feel like this is sort of like a sensitive topic that is personal to anyone that's really in that situation. I mean, like if you're at peace with what's happening, then fine. But like you said, Ukela, if the person is not at peace, the person still has feelings, like there's still all of that drama in that situation, it's somewhere that you wouldn't even want to put yourself it's a situation you want to put yourself into. So I want to ask you guys, we are all Christians here. I want to know your thoughts about, is there one person? Is there anything like the one? So you know how people feel like there's one husband for every woman and there's one wife for every man. Do you guys think that way? What are your thoughts about that? I'll start with Bolu.
Let me go first because I had that discussion with somebody today.
Okay.
Exactly the same question we were trying to dissect. If there's we call it divine choice. Okay, there's a divine person that if you miss, you've missed out in your marital destiny. Yeah, you're screwed up, and so your ambition and your goal would be to try to figure out who that person is, maybe in a vision of the night or whatsoever. So interestingly, the conclusion we arrived at, both of us, is that there's nothing as that one divine person. But there are principles, biblical principles you could use to make the right choice for yourself in a relationship or in towards marriage. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Aurea, what are your thoughts?
Nah. I don't believe there's just one person. Because if one person makes a mistake, it upsets the balance for the rest of the world. It doesn't, for me, like just logically, it doesn't make sense. Also, God gave us free will, right? And so I might decide, okay, I'm gonna I don't know, graduate in Nigeria and make up my life in Nigeria, or I might decide to travel somewhere else, let's say to Asia, for example, and start a life there. Would it not mean that the person I meet in Asia, if maybe for some reason, maybe I thought I should have been in Nigeria, maybe whoever I meet in Asia then is not the right person for me? I don't think so. I think people can. I think they're different. Also, I think even for each person, there are different kinds of people you could probably work with. Your relationship with each person would be different just because it's two different personalities being combined. But I don't think it's just one person for each person. Like that would just, for me, it doesn't even make logical sense. So yeah.
Okay, Ukela.
I also don't think there's just one person for like anybody.
Okay.
I feel like that's this one that God gave us some kind of freedom to choose. So it's going to be a product of our decisions, our own desires, our understanding. So, and more than one person can fit into that, I don't know, specification, so to say. If you want a godly, God-fearing, beautiful, tall, whatever you want, you probably find more than one person that fits that. So you already can be with more than one person. I don't think there's just one person God whispers to your ear, or God has already inscribed on some wall that this has to be the person you get married to. I don't think so. I think that person we eventually end up settling with is the product of our choices, our decisions, our understanding, and the help of the Holy Spirit.
Okay, thanks. We have a comment from Olawole Karim, who is saying, at UK, the way you are smiling here, I can guess you're coming to PH soon. My view on the subject, no fast and hard rule. So I guess there's a consensus here, really and truly. There's no fast and hard rule. But Bolu mentioned something. He said that there are principles that you could follow to ensure that you don't make a mistake. Because in as much as there's no fast and hard rule, I feel like marriage is such a sensitive and destiny defining decision that you don't even want to attempt to get it wrong. Like getting it wrong is like shooting yourself in the foot, because it can really derail a person just because of how close that relationship is, the level of intimacy that's built in that relationship. So I'd like all of us to share, like, what are the things that you cannot compromise on when it comes to choosing a life partner, the things you cannot compromise on, and what principles are you sort of going by? So I'm going to start with Bolu, because he's the one that started, initially talked about the whole principles things, and then we'll go around.
Okay, what really made me to begin to think seriously about this issue and principles was I was looking at it from the non-Christian perspective. Okay, so I reflect a lot. So I was reflecting about it one day, and the question was in my mind was that do non-Christians, right, marry rightly? Okay, so from the Christian camp, it seems as though that if you're not godly, or if you're not in Christ, if you're not saved, if you don't pray to God to give you a life partner, you marry the wrong choice, right? So in my mind, I was like, okay, how about non-Christians? There are a lot of non-Christians who are married that, to me, and from my view, their marriages are good. They are well. They are married well. But I know that they are not Christians. So how did they make the right choice in marrying the spouses they married, and how is their marriage working out so fine? Okay, so I reasoned it from a general perspective, and then of course from a Christian perspective as well. So from a general perspective, I was like, well, there is this intelligence, natural intelligence God gave to man to be able to make choices, right? And then in terms of marriage, it's like, hey, there are preferences. I have preferences, and somebody else also has preferences. And if our preferences match, then maybe we can work together and build a future together, build a home together as well. Then, from the Christian perspective, we know that the Bible instructs Christians to marry only in the Lord. So the number one principle that personally should compromise on is that principle of marrying in the Lord. So long the person is so long the person is in the Lord, and you can ascertain that the person is in the Lord, that's a go-to, or that's the first criteria. But then again, it's not everybody that is in the Lord that is a potential spouse. So how do you work that out? Then you now fall back into the general principles. Okay, well, even in the Lord, there are preferences, right? And nobody can deny those preferences, no matter how spiritual you are. Okay, so for instance, now some guys would like fair ladies. Okay, they are in the Lord, they are Christians, but they will like fair ladies. Some will like dark ladies. Some will like fleshy ladies, some teen ladies like that, and then some would like intellectual ladies like me, right? They call them sapiosexual. They like ladies that are very intellectual, bookish, and whatsoever. And then others who like ladies that are also very scholarly and intellectual, but they are maybe they are literate, like that. Yeah. So from your own preferences, you can make the right choice for you. And then also it's of course mutual. Okay, so it's not just one-sided or loop-sided. You find somebody, or you meet somebody, and both of you like each other, and both of you are in the Lord, then you are good to go. Yeah. So the number one principle I cannot break ever is being in the Lord, and then the rest will just flow out of my personal preferences. Yeah.
So being in the Lord and personal preferences. Thank you. That was a really, really good explanation. Ukela, what do you think? What are sort of the values? Now, Bolu has already mentioned being in the Lord and then personal preferences. What other values or what other principles do you think that are so key when someone is making that choice of a life partner?
Well, I believe in Amos 3:3 that says that can two work together except they be agreed. So I believe that agreement is very, very important. Like Bolu said, even when the person is in the Lord, um, there are other personal preferences, and there are. I'm not sure if I'll categorize agreement with all those preferences. I think agreement is really special. Agreement on very important things that are not necessarily spiritual.
Yeah.
Agreement on, say, purpose, destination, I don't know, direction, methodology to achieve family goals. There has to be the agreement. Okay, so that's very important to me. I mean, you can meet very awesome people, the great in all the general standards of judgment. They're great in almost every normal thing, but they don't agree with you in destination or in methodology. For instance, let me give an example. So you meet somebody and their life's dream is to live the rest of their life abroad, for instance. And maybe you feel like God's call for you is not leading you out of the country yet. You feel very strongly that God has work for you here.
Mm.
Okay, it's going to be very difficult for you guys to work together in a marriage because somebody will be compromising on something big.
Yeah.
If it's a guy, for me, for instance, I feel like she would always feel like she's compromising on her dreams or her, promised land that she believes she's supposed to get to
Mm.
if she stays back with me in Nigeria. And if I go abroad with her, if I decide to go abroad with her, I'll always feel like I'm stepping away from what I believe God's call or intention or purpose for me is in Nigeria. So we don't have that agreement. So I feel like agreement is one very important principle.
All right, thank you, Ukela. Those are definitely
Or
really.
criteria. Okay, to me.
Sorry about that. I feel like I sort of cut you off. Um, I don't know. I think my internet is messing up. So, Ukela, sorry about that. We're going to come back to you. Aurea, what are your thoughts about it? What can you add to it? So we've heard, don't compromise your faith. Don't your preferences are important. We've heard about agreement, and the fourth thing that yeah, we've heard about agreement. So, we want to hear from you, Aurea. What are your thoughts?
For me, a good friendship. Nothing beats a good friendship. So, and in friendship, there are a lot of things that come under the umbrella of friendship. So, in friendship, there's love in preferring the other person, like preferring yourselves over each other, preferring the other person over yourself. There's good conversation, somebody who will be your gist partner for life. There's generosity as well. Yeah. So for me, it's all those things. All those things are need to be there, but also having a good friendship, I think is a wonderful thing. Obviously, you be aligned in values and other things like that, but I don't think anything after you've kind of hit those things. I don't think anything beats a good friendship.
Yeah, thanks, Aurea. I mean, for me, just to add to all of that, I feel like trying to. So there's some characters as well that also make up for a successful marriage. Today, I shared a quote from Pastor Jimmy Evans that said, "The greatest marriages in the world are two servants." together, and the worst marriages in the world are two masters living together, so there are all these things about service. How does the person value serving others? Because when you get together, you'd have to serve each other in order to live together successfully. Is it are you choosing someone that wants to be served? It doesn't mean that when you find these things you say no, you're no longer going into the relationship, but it's something that definitely needs to be worked on if things are going to work out well in the future. There are things like kindness. Are they kind? Generosity. I mean, if you get married to someone that that doesn't like to share, you can imagine, like, are they responsible? There's now that so there's some character attributes that I believe that if you're someone that's looking to get married, you should be working to build in yourself first before you then look out for it in another person, because you can't want someone that's servant minded to come and live with you who doesn't care about others. Like, are you trying to put the person through misery? So anything you want for yourself to have in the partner you're wanting to be with, you definitely need to start with yourself. So characters like service, kindness, generosity, and responsibility. Are they responsible? Can they keep a job? Do they have a job? Financial attitudes are also things that people sometimes tend to miss. It's not about, oh, are they sharing their money, but it's how are they managing their money, and how are you managing your money, because these are things that will have serious consequences for after you get married. I'm just gonna go back to Ukela because I feel like I cut him short. He was saying something before I cut you. Ukela, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay, can you give us some final words before we are coming to the end of the show? If you're watching, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So before we go, I'd like everyone to leave us with a word, either an encouragement for graduates or an encouragement about relationships. Ukela.
Okay. I'd like to say that relationships and marriage it's a beautiful thing. Love generally is a beautiful thing, and it's very delicate as well. Um, whatever you do, don't overthink. Don't do it purely on your understanding. Make sure that the Holy Spirit is guiding you, and don't be too spiritual as well. So spiritual that you don't take note of things that you can actually observe and maybe work on or walk away from.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aurea, what about you? What are your final words of encouragement?
In general, keep the hope up, is what I'd say, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in looking for work, whether it's in finding what your calling is. Keep the hope up. A lot of times you keep knocking on doors, eventually one will open, but you just have to keep going. So that would be my advice. And as I mentioned before, leverage your networks, try and meet people, try to also offer value when you're meeting people. Don't just be a vulture to try and get things from them. But so leverage on your networks and keep the hope up. Hard work pays off eventually.
Thanks, Aurea. Bolu, what are your final thoughts for us?
Okay, especially to those who just graduated and who passed out from NYSC. I think the most important job out there is entrepreneurship, right? To become an entrepreneur. It's entrepreneurs that create jobs, and then it's entrepreneurs that even employ people, right? They employ the first class students, second class, upper students, and everybody else, right? So I would like to spur them to try to be enterprising, to pursue their ideas, try to be innovative, and just keep pushing and to survive in the Nigerian economy, and also create an impact in the society. And for those who are considering relationships, well, I think the best thing is to listen to married people and also observe marriages, and then read a lot of books, and most importantly, pray to God and read the scriptures for yourself. The most important thing in life is the knowledge of God. and the knowledge of Jesus Christ, which I believe would really help you and be the organizing principle of all the decisions you make in life. Yeah, so those are my final words.
Thank you, Bolu. I just want to say thanks to Bolu, Aurea, and to Ukela for joining us today. Like, you guys have really shared a lot about your experiences, advice, and all of that. Aurea has a YouTube channel. Aurea, what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's Insights Aurea, so INSIGHTORE.
Okay, so Aurea's YouTube channel is Insight Aurea. Aurea is also a vocal
A
artist.
voiceover artist.
Voiceover artist. So guys, if you need voiceovers done, you hit Aurea up, and also please subscribe to her YouTube channel. Bolu, I'm coming to you so that you tell us a bit about what you're doing, but I'm going to go to Ukela first. Ukela has an Instagram channel. He loves relationships. He loves to inspire people. So tell us, what's the name of your Instagram handle?
It's at straight up talk. That's straight underscore up UP and talk. Straight underscore up talk. And it's just really talking about relationship, love, things that young people usually don't stay set on. You know, we don't really address straight up. So we try to talk about all those things and, you know, inspire ourselves to get the best out of every situation and navigate those territories very wisely.
Okay, thank you, Ukela. Bolu has a Facebook page where he talks a lot about the faith. Obviously, he loves to read and he loves to share things about the word as well. So you can follow him on his Facebook page to know more about him. Bolu, do you want to share anything else about yourself? Where can we find you to follow on social media?
Okay, as Bibi has already said, I'm very passionate about theology, the scriptures, and classical education. Okay, well, I'm also passionate about Austrian economics and entrepreneurship and finance and investment. So you can look for my name on Facebook, Banai Brutolu, or you can look for me on Twitter, Bolo Brutolu. I guess my name is displayed on the screen for you to see. So you can connect with me there and follow my posts. You can also send me private messages for us to connect. Thank you.
Thank you, Bolu. Thanks, Aurea. Thanks, Ukela, for joining the show today. If you're joining us for the first time today, thanks for joining us. If you're a returning viewer, thanks once again for joining today. We've come to the end of today's show. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know when we have new content coming up. We're planning really exciting things for this show in the future. So please keep tuning in. Same time next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Nigerian time and 7 p.m. UK time. We just got a comment from Oluwole Karim, and he's saying, I'm impressed by the presentations from all the participants. You all should keep it up. It is a good discussion. So it goes without saying, all of you guys are great. You rock. Thank you. And thanks to all those commenting. Olawole Karim, thank you for commenting. And we also had Bolu B commenting. Thank you as well. Have a very lovely evening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.